Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Good morning, good afternoon, race fans, and welcome to another round. We go to Tsukuba, Circuit 2K Chicane. This is a very interesting circuit to bring us deeper into the second half of this season. Just around the city of Shimotua, and of course in the country of Japan, using a full configuration 81 feet above sea level with a temperature of 19 degrees. 1.31 miles is what it's going to be. I'm Alexa Marshall, joined by Tristan Herbst. Our producer in the background is Jim Cunningham, who's going to be bringing you all the action that you see tonight with the cameras. And Tristan, we're going into the second half of this season. We're already pretty deep into it. This is definitely going to be an interesting one, especially considering Zach Rattray-White didn't take part last week.
Definitely so. And I mean, also, besides that fact, we've got a couple of new top contenders. Obviously, Thomas Fleming is here to stay, the real-life IndyCar and a bunch of other series driver. Now also joining in on the TGR Nation Grand V Fun. And looks like he's trying to make a little bit of more time to actually stay more involved and, you know, pose a bit more of a threat with Zach Rattray-White as well as Gianni Lutsu, who I can see both are actually in here tonight. So we're going to have all three of our contenders, Sean Gapinski and Alan DeGassis, are also well in there. Sally Khan, we've seen up there as well. So we've got a lot of competition rooting for us here going into this round. And like you said, we're already well past the halfway mark here at Tsukuba, and it's going to be quite an interesting race. If you've ever done any form of iRacing yourself, you've probably done this track in either the MX-5 series or the BMW M2 CS. Both cars featuring in like the free setups that you get with iRacing in terms of car and track combos. But today we head out with the Formula V's, a very interesting car and track combo, lots of technical corners. But I think, Alexa, it's going to be a great race here today. And that top five is going to be all over each other again.
We've seen it throughout the season. They always are, and it's never a surprise when it comes down to it, as there is Mr. Sully Khan. A little bit unfortunate for him last time round in the flooded Alton Park. Storm Amy came a little bit too late, but either way, it was absolutely flooded. It made an interesting one. Gianni Lutsu said he wasn't going to take part, but he ended up taking part last minute, so he's helped himself out in the championship. Zach Rattray-White is going to be back tonight, hoping to try and get back at him, because, of course, he thought Gianni wasn't taking part, but instead he did. So that's definitely going to be an interesting one on circuit. I know Zach had some words to say about that last week, but I digress. There's number 6 making their way around on the circuit at the moment. This is my first time doing this circuit. What about you, Tristan? Any nice little bit of information you might have?
So I don't have any commentary in terms of like history beforehand. I've done a lot of racing on this track, especially in the MX-5 and the M2, which is why I mentioned them. Very fun track to drive, and like I mentioned, it's quite technical in terms of its flow. It doesn't have your traditional long slooping corners, and once we have our track map up on screen, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. In terms of corners, it's very sharp and quite quick rotation corners, except for obviously the final corner where we can see Mr. Thomas Fleming going around now. That's your only right long banker. But other than that, you can see on the track map, it's relatively hairpin styled. You can see first turn's a hairpin, all the way down to fourth turn is a hairpin, and then the second last corner is also a hairpin. So lots of sharp corners. It does also play into the fact of that, but like our producer says in the background, it is used quite predominantly as a drifting track in Japan. So it does make sense in terms of track layout. It's drift cars do tend to work with U-turns, 180-degree hairpins quite well. And so tonight we get to see the Formula Vs. And I mean, like we've seen, Alexa, these cars get volatile with sharp cornering and having to debuff that gearbox down to second or third gear. So we might be able to see a little bit of action yet tonight if things get a little bit too crowded.
Yeah, well, try not to spin because that will cause an issue for you. However, it seems like everybody's going through pretty clean at the moment. Turn 1 is definitely going to be an interesting factor, I will say. Straight into a hairpin, and you can definitely see some dives down into that one, and maybe even around the outside. We know a few of the drivers like to do that in this series. But there is your timing board as it does currently sit. Zach Ratchery at the top, 1:06.392. Sully Khan was P number 2, but he's down to P number 3 as Sean Gapinski, 1:06, as there is Mr. Thomas Lord Fleming, a good sire. And they are going P number 2 at the current moment. So nice mix up there. Kiwi, Brit and American all across the board. Sully Khan, we've seen it all this season, and we saw it last season, Tristan. He's a really good driver, but he just can't seem to stay out of those incidents.
No, definitely not. He seems to have a little bit of an unlucky wave surrounding him. We've seen it as well in this season. I know you mentioned last season, but even in this season, we've seen him in the previous rounds where he's managed to get his speed up towards the top fighting pack, and we've seen him fighting in that top 5, sometimes even the top 3, and then later on in the race we do just see him drop down due to some form of incident or some form of spin or self-inflicted error that he's made. And it really does just unfortunately come down to racecraft and just driver efficiency. So hopefully we could see something different here with Solomon Khan today. I mean, I'd love to see him finishing up there, maybe in second or third, fighting alongside Fleming as well as Zach Rattray White. But only time is going to tell in a race like this. We do have around about 1 minute left of our practice. This is not the qualifying lap times, if you were thinking that. This is all about practice. Unfortunately, we've got a couple of drivers who are still trying to find their niche. Matthews about 2 seconds off the pole sitting time, and Cummings all the way down in 21st, currently 1:11. So quite a good margin away from the front pack, but they do still have a couple of minutes, well, actually about 45 seconds to practice, and then a good 10 minutes of qualifying to try and get themselves on that board. But on board with Mr. Mark Schweening, not to be confused with Gianni Lutsu, both rocking a very similar car livery. But Mark Schweening, I mean, Alexa, he's kind of the same as Solomon Khan. We've unfortunately seen him have his fair share in the walls this season.
Yeah, I mean, that's really the unfortunate part about it. We've seen how good these drivers can be, especially Mr. Schweening last season wrap. Well, those incidents can never seem to be taken away from them. I mean, Schweening was having a really good season last time out, but then it came down to the ovals, and it seems like it's just deteriorated from there. Maybe not in the right headspace, needs to try and find it again, but we'll find out as it is checkered in free practice, and we will be getting into your qualifying just very shortly. Top in practice, Zach Rocheriway, Thomas Fleming, and Sean Gapinski. There's your replay in the lower top left for a moment, and now you look at the main pit road for the American folks, pit lane for us Brits. And there is your calendar, as we will talk about this. We're on the 6th of December, and it is round number... We're at round number 9 of the season. And, of course, it is Tsukuba Moto. We've still got Wild West Motor Park to come your way for round number 10. Then the penultimate round will be Lime Rock Chicanes on the 20th. And then Laguna Seca on the 27th. 27th, we're still trying to see if we can get some coverage for that, but we do not know. But we'll be with you up until the 20th of December. Same place, same time, every single week, 11 a.m. Eastern. And of course, if you're in Central European time, 5:30 p.m. And of course, I think it's a similar time for you, Tristan, because there's so many different times around this world, yet we see such a big mix of drivers on this grid.
Yeah, it's currently about 6:20 in the evening for me, so I think just 1 hour past the Central European time. But yeah, exactly what you're talking about there. We do have such a large variety of drivers. We've got Brazil in here. We've got, we've got 2 drivers from Antarctica, which I highly doubt is the actual nationality. Maybe they've got some super cool CPUs down there. I'm not too sure, but we've got loads of Americans. We've got I believe it's Indonesian. Yeah, it's Indonesian. We've got a Dutch driver, a French driver. No, that's not French, that's Dutch. We've got obviously Mr. Mark Schweening from Germany. So lots and lots of nationalities to play with here. Obviously Gianni Lutsu from Vatican City as well. New Zealand's also in there. So lots and lots of places that the drivers are coming from. I think Vatican City might also be a bit of a play on, but you never know. We might have some nice sim drivers down there. But I think before we head over to the actual qualifying beginning, as we have most of our drivers out on their outlaps, I think we should give a big shout out yet again to the sponsors of the TGR Nation Grand V. So a massive shout out to the Gianni Lutsu Driver Performance. Well, actually just Lutsu Driver Performance, obviously run and managed by Gianni Lutsu himself. So for all your training and sim training needs in terms of trying to get that lap time in, or just trying to find your comfort spot in a car, even the Formula V, head over to Lutsu Driver Performance. We've also got Sambo iRacing for all your track guides that you might need in case you're struggling with this week's rotation on iRacing in terms of where to brake or just where to position your car. Head over to Sambo iRacing. I'm sure you can find a guide there to make your life a bit easier. But we do currently have our drivers finishing their out laps. Alan de Gassis will set his fastest time, but Thomas Lord Fleming will take it with a 1:06.7 as the fastest current lap time for this qualifying session.
Yeah, not too bad at all with 2:50 in. Of course, you've got 3 qualifying laps that you're allowed out of the 10-minute period. That is going to be Matthews, P number 4 at the moment. Zach Roger White, P number 2. Carr, Stanley, Toastes all up onto the board as well. So nothing big yet as there's Hanley and P at number 7, the Irishman, making their way through. Of course, you've also got the American of Ken Poulin, who's made their way up into the grid. That's P number 8 on the current moment. It's going to be Todd going P number 4. So this is the interesting part that we also see about qualifying as well. These first lap times are never really true. They will get faster and faster as Robinson, P number 4 there. Here's Gianni Lutsu coming around the final corner. Where are they going to go? It's going to be across to the line. Gianni Lutsu is going to go P number 2, 1:06.767.
Yeah, it's a great jump there for Gianni Lutsu. But I think we can try and go through a bit of a lap, a bit of an onboard lap here. We might have to just try find a driver. I see Zach Rattray White currently halfway through a lap right now. Not too sure if we'll be on board with him, but we are currently watching him as he goes around. Brandon Nagelvoort will make his way up into 4th position. I believe that might be a new driver. I haven't seen that name before. It's quite an interesting one, but it's a cool one nonetheless. 1:07.1 there for Nagelvoort in 4th position. Schweening down a little bit further down on the track. He's just started his lap. And around the Tsukuba circuit, he will go through the winding bends onto the next second hairpin of the circuit, winding down into the left-hand corner. Is it going to be an improvement on this lap time? Obviously, it's still new into the corner, into the lap time, but through the right hand underneath the Dunlop tires. It's actually the different track layout that I'm used to. Usually you'd go on the left there, but this one actually sweeps to right and then back towards the left. So a little bit more of a chicane being added. And then obviously the final hairpin of the Tsukuba circuit before you head onto the back straight and then towards the far right stretch hander towards the checkered flag. So on board with Mr. Schweening. Is it an improvement? We do not see his timing at the bottom of the screen, but we will see it in a moment's time. He currently doesn't have any time on the board, which is why we don't see his time, as there is no improvement to compare on. But coming through this final corner, it looks like he's been able to keep the car neatly under control. Where does Schweening place himself? With about 5 minutes left of qualifying to go, and into 17th, he'll go 1:08. Unfortunately, not the fastest that I think Schweening can go, so he'll aim to try and go a little bit faster with the remaining time he's got.
Halfway through qualifying is Thomas Fleming, who sits up top, 1:06.701 to beat. There's Gianni Lutsu, call this at P number 2. If you're looking at the bottom of your screen or you're new to iRacing or stuff like this, then we'll let you know. Is the times on the bottom of your screen in those boxes, and then a yellow bar means slower in that sector. Green means personal fastest, and purple means session fastest overall. As Zach Rotterdam White has a moment, he's gone P number 4, but he has got meatball flag. So that's going to affect him in that regard. Lord Fleming still up top, but the top 3 are looking pretty clean at the moment, but it's not much of a gap. It's still pretty close between them. So is anything going to happen there? Because Johnny Lutsu is on an absolute flyer right now as Robinson goes to the line 1 minute 7:08.8. Here comes Johnny Lutsu, going to go to the line. And he will go to pole position 1 minute 6:217 as Boobay Bradley. I know Jim likes that one. With a 1 minute 6:8.50. Jim, if you a little bit of a fact here. A little bit of a fact here in the commentary box. Our producer in the background, Jim Cunningham, he really likes the name Boo Bear Bradley for some reason.
He does, but unfortunately, Boo Bear Bradley's not actually here tonight. That's actually Big Dog Babson in third. So similar naming convention. I see why it would have been confused, but I mean, it's at least still a cool first name, Big Dog Babson. He's trying to show his might over there up in fourth with a 106.8. But I mean, what a great lap from Johnny Lutsu. 5/10 up from Thomas Lord Fleming over there. So great jump up there. But with about 3 or so minutes left to qualifying, we do have our final couple of drivers rounding up their laps. We do still have Babson out on track, as well as Marin and Fleming. So I'm not too sure if there's going to be any form of improvement from there. Alan Degassis is down in 12th at the moment. And, you know, we usually see Degassis up fighting for the top 5. So not too sure what's gone on there with Degassis, currently struggling around the Tsukuba circuit. And I'd love to give you guys some cool corner names. Unfortunately, Tsukuba is one of the circuits that don't actually utilize corner names. We've only got corner numbers, and which is why we kind of have to give our own impressions. Yeah, the hairpin, the long right-hander, the long this, and you kind of just have to start to make things up just to add towards the entertainment. But on board now with Marin about to finish his lap time, we'll be seeing improvement for the league runner of Mr. Marin. Unfortunately not. You can see at the bottom of your screen, it's all yellow across. And that's actually a 109, so quite a bit slower compared to his previous lap times. But for the time being, it looks like qualifying might be coming to an end very shortly.
Yeah, I mean, it does happen, and it's happened quite a bit this season. Towards the end of the session, you only get a few of those drivers out there. A few drivers with the meatballs. I'm very interested to see why they have got those. But this corner, turn number 1, I think that's going to be an interesting corner on lap 1 because, like we said earlier, dives up the inside and around the outside. But either way, one wrong move in these Vs, they don't we've said it so many times this season, Tristan, they don't spin off, they go round on their axis, as this is why this is the final corner actually. So this is probably why, maybe just going on the grass a bit too much, but we're just watching a replay here as they continue down towards turn number 1. And up, rear end drops out, and
exactly
around you go. That's a perfect example.
Literally perfect example of the Formula V. And probably from that was just an early downshift. Just pulling that gear down a little bit too early for the car and sending that car into higher revs. Unfortunately, with such a light vehicle, the engine throws around so much power during a weight shift like that. And that's exactly what happens in the Formula Vs, and getting chucked around in somewhat of a circle spin. They don't spin off, they don't spin left or right due to traction control. They simply spin around in a circle just due to the way the weight moves around this very small 296 kilogram car. And I mean, if you think that weight is still quite heavy, try and compare it to a regular road car, you're looking at about 1.3 to 1.4 tons. So about 300 kilograms in a single seater car. It's a very, very little amount of weight to play with. So any form of weight differentiation or chucking that weight around the front or back of the car is going to change how it reacts to the driver's input. And we're just seeing a couple of replays now of the drivers pulling off of the track. But talking about that chicane, we'll have a look at it now on the replay. I believe this looks like it's going up towards turn number 1. I believe it might be the next chicane after turn number 1. This is indeed turn number 1 with Mr. Schweening, I believe, indeed. And just going a little bit wide out there, that's going to cause a slight slowdown in terms of top speed. And unfortunately, we won't get a replay of that chicane as the session is officially over for qualifying. We head to the racing session soon, though, so the racing is going to be tight.
Always is, and it is 1-2 love. Tristan, we know how we usually do this. Take us through the qualifying order.
Yeah, Mr. Lutsu will take P1, so trying to fight back in terms of that championship standing. Thomas Fleming, with Lord as his nickname, will sit in second position. Matthias Marin will sit in third. Big Dog Babson will take fourth. Sean Gapinski fifth, with Zach Rattray White in sixth. Unfortunately, not the best result he would have been hoping for today. Adrian Borowski down in seventh, with Sully Khan down in eighth. Lachlan D. Robinson will take ninth, and Todd Going rounding off the fifth row. Brandon Nagelvoort with his debut race here in the TGR Nation Grand V in 11th, with Alan Degassis in 12th position.
Going down the rest of the order, it's Zenkar, followed by Martin Visser, Rodrigo Tostes, Kirk Stanley, Ken Poulin, Neil Hanley, Mark Schweening, and of course Rich Matthews, followed by Adam Morgan and Hayden Cummings. So it is going to be an interesting one as we get to the green. It is a very interesting circuit, mainly used for drift. Now it's used for these. It's Johnny Lutsu who is going to be on pole. Zach will not be far behind. It all comes down to this. I see no gantries. It's all eyes to the marshal, who will hold the flag here in round number 9. It is green flag jump, so we are racing. That's a jump start in the background. That's not what they would have wanted to do. That is an incredible start there by Gianni Lutsu, though. That's going to be a penalty for the jump start as you go down in towards turn number 1. Down the inside, trying to go wheel to wheel, side by side, but still nothing yet there, as everybody's getting through nice and clean, it seems, as everybody's real close together. Zach Rattray White in the background as well, trying to go for a move down the inside, looks to the outside line. That is Robinson, who had that jump start and has the black flag. That's a penalty for them. They will have to serve a drive-through penalty. Zach Rattray White still trying to fight his way through, though. He's having an absolutely lovely time. He hasn't moved any positions yet, but he's still sat where he needs to be. Making their way now down into the rest of the circuit. John Lusu leads. Still a little bit fight further back. This is going to be Todd Going and Nengelvoort. Todd Going on the inside line. Nengelvoort on the outside. A little bit of fight further back between Visses and Tostes as well. Wheel to wheel, but now slotting in behind into the slip. And in the background, yeah, you can also see Visser and Tostes. There is Sean Gapinski, and there's a beautiful view of your entire grid. This is a very fast lap here, Tristan, as we're already coming back round onto the start-finish straight.
Yeah, not the biggest circuit we're working with at here at Tsukuba, and I mean 22 Formula Vs. This is going to prove to be quite action-packed. I don't want to say chaotic, but it is going to be lots and lots of movement all across the circuit. But other than that, I mean, a relatively good start. In terms of all of our cars, unfortunately, Robinson getting that jump start, just releasing the clutch just a bit too early, and that does set him down with a black flag penalty. That's a drive-through that he'll have to serve, and we'll pull him all the way down towards the mid-pack. But currently on board, Adrian Borowski trying to hold down in 7th. He hasn't lost a position or gained any as of yet. Big Dog Babson, though, trying to fight back up. He's down 4 positions now, from 4th down to 8th position, and now trying to recover and make his way past Borowski. But now Borowski onto Gapinski into the next right-hand corner. Borowski actually on the outside line, sorry, that's Gapinski making it up in his orange, white, and blue Formula V, coming down towards that right-handed, towards the back straight. Gianni Lutsu still leading on strong, but here's Robinson trying to hold his fight. Unfortunately, there he goes, pulling into the pit lane to serve that penalty. And Thomas Flemington, I don't know if that was Flemington before. I think it was just cut off on the commentary on the live timings tower. But Flemington, he's trying to be nice and royal over here in the red Formula V, chasing down on Gianni Lutsu. Further behind, though, Marin is having a time with Zach Rattray White, who has managed to pull himself up into 4th position. So keep your eye on that fight. A little bit further behind, though, you can see it's almost 3 wide coming into the next chicane as Solomon Khan trying to get past Gapinski and Babson. There is so much fighting going on this field, Alexa, and I think this is what we're going to be seeing for the next 28 minutes of racing, is just constant pressure being applied onto that top 3 to try and break into it and try and take home some form of win or podium by any of our drivers contesting it.
Deja vu to Oran Park, I would say, but now down in towards the braking zone, looking for the outside line. These smaller circuits really do entice themselves with these Vs, because this non-stop action is not what you want to miss. Don't switch that channel. You're watching TGR Grand Nation V as you continue down the main straight. And it is incredibly close. Zach Rattray White continuously though, still trying to get that move done. He's on the inside line through final. Is he going to be able to get it? Yes, he will. Nengelvoort gets past Sully Khan further back. Yellow flag slow down for Matthews in the back. He serves that real quickly. But Matthias Marin still not giving up. Up against the Kiwi through the right hand. Now Matthias is going to have a little bit of contact there. And that's going to be Eddie Borowski who will fly through. And that's going to be Sully Khan getting past Nengelvoort. A little bit behind. You see them battling as well. That is an absolutely lovely fight that we're getting on this visual as they continue around the left-hander. Starting to see a bit of a gap. Top two starting to drive away with it. P3 down to P number 12 is the first big train, with the second big train being Mark Schweening down to Kurt to Stanley in P number 19. So, two big trains, two big battles. You never know what is going to happen. Is looking on the bonnet and to the back, and now through the right-hander. More of a nose cone though, as you continue with Zach Rattray White on the inside line, going to be wheel-to-wheel, side-by-side with him. Not going to give it up yet. Matthias Marin still going to be side-by-side. It's free abreast down the straight. Is it going to be a big moment, or will they get through clean?
Looks like, fortunately, we got through clean there. I mean, I was also holding my breath because I had a feeling Marin wasn't going to pull out, but thankfully he had the sanity to pull it away there. And Zach Rattray White had a little bit of contact there a bit earlier with Borowski. We saw him bouncing around there in his cockpit, but looks like he's managed to recover himself. Up at the third he goes, but guys, look at the timing tower. Zach Rattray White 3.5 seconds away from Thomas Fleming and Gianni Lutu. So it's going to be quite a long climb for him, and he's got a lot of pressure from behind, trying to get past him. Borowski, Marin fighting each other. Nagovort and Gapinski, Khan going, all of them in the background, trying to fight with each other. And you'll see it from the cams being provided now. This train is never ending. It is so long through these we have to watch out for is how the drivers take their control of the car, because we did see in the practice and qualifying through these chicanes, it did start getting a little bit nitpicky in terms of controlling this Formula V. And when there's pressure from behind and in front, that nitpickiness just gets a little bit further expanded in terms of trying to control your car, A, and B, trying to also race the drivers around you for points on this series championship for season number 3. So there's lots and lots of pressure for our drivers here. Todd Going will be trying to keep his fellow driver behind him, Gapinski and Degassis, as they continue to try and push up. And Gapinski and Degassis, very, very used to fighting up into the top 5. Unfortunately, today, they find themselves down in 10th and 11th. So they're trying to make their way around. Here comes the first dive. Gapinski makes a good move up onto the inside of Todd Going, and looks like he'll make it stick. But will the likes of Degassis follow on behind? He's trying to make his way around. Zenkar, a little bit further, is also trying to join in on this fight. But Degassis now onto the outside line of Todd Going. Is it going to be enough? Oh, it's a big slip up. And Degassis on the outside line where the debris has been gathering up. The Formula V decides, unfortunately, not today, and throwing himself into yet another donut spin. I think we can take our count up to, what is that now, 16 or 17 spins we've seen this season, Alexa?
I think so. Like I think we should have got a counter at the start of the season,
yeah,
one of the click ones, but unfortunately we don't, so it's a bit hard to keep track of. Right now, you've got Adrian Borowski, who is on the back. He's 3 positions up, trying to get past Zach Rattray White still. These two have been going at it for quite a while. It's total non-stop action, yet no impact onto the main straight as they go again. You're getting lap after lap after lap. We're nearly 10 minutes in, yet it's all over the place. Nice battles up and down the field as Thomas Fleming is bringing that gap down up top, down to 2 tenths between the leaders, down to nearly 1 tenth, 1.5 tenths. So here we go as we're riding on board with Adrian Borowski, keeping an eye on that timing tower. Right, I am myself. But once again, don't use the outside line, because that's where all the dirt is. Now you're going to be into the toe, trying to stay in the slip. You want the aerodynamics to work with what little aerodynamics there are on these cars. But either way, through the chicane, we've seen quite a few people lose it there during free practice and qualifying, yet this time they make it through nice and clean, as it's lovely jubbly sound as a pound. But right now, this is real interesting on this fight. The gaps have started to open up a little bit, so now I'm wondering, is everybody starting to play a little bit conservative for a final push, maybe in the second half? If we are 7 minutes in, and this is your battle for the lead, Tristan, Gianni Lutsu and Thomas Fleming.
Yeah, these two are going to be non-stop at it, and I'm hoping to maybe see a little bit of catch-up from behind, because the 4.6 second gap, unfortunately, it does leave that win for this race in a fight for 2 instead of in a fight for 5 or 6, which is what we're traditionally used to seeing. But for the time being, Lutsu, I mean, you can just see it in the camera angle from behind. It almost looks like he's got an extended Formula V that's got 8 wheels, but no, that's Mr. Thomas Fleming tucking in as tight as possible in his red Formula V, trying to squeeze his nose in as far as possible. He needs to be careful, though, not to stick it too far in and towards that gearbox. He could potentially cause a bit of an incident here if he's not careful, but Who are we talking about? We're talking about a real-life driver here who's got experience of chasing down other drivers. Actually, we've got two real-life drivers here, both Lutsu and Fleming with the real-life experience, and you can see how it's showing compared to the rest of our grid here as they fight on with each other. You can see the gearbox there of Lutsu ever getting closer to Fleming as he slowly starts to gain the strip on the back. Nagelvoort will lose out to Khan though, down in 8th, but we might have a position change here for the front. Fleming will take a slightly broader line to try and bring it in towards turn 1. What is it going to be though? The camera angle is absolutely tight, quite a far run for. But what is Fleming going to do? He's got the speed. Will he tuck in onto the inside line? No, he doesn't. He stays tucked behind the pink Formula V of Gianni Lutsu, and they'll go around the track yet again. But further back, Solomon Khan and Nagelvoort fighting each other. Khan did get past just a couple of seconds ago, but Nagelvoort's not letting it go, not whatsoever, and trying to keep on control on the banana Formula V of Khan's yellow and blue. What is it going to be though? Further fighting behind though, Kapinski and Going also haven't let each other go. It's a good dive though from Nagelvoort into the next hairpin, and he's managed to recover his position here. Loads and loads of fighting in this mid-pack, and this is what we love to see. You can see it on your live timing tower. All the orange figures represent a time under 5/10 within each other, and there is so much fighting going on over here. We're just about to hit the 10-minute mark, and the drivers are slowly going to start to pace themselves a bit more here, trying to find that traction and the grip to make it towards the end of this 30-minute race. This isn't a 10-minute sprint, and they do also need to keep themselves in the tow. Kirk Stanley having a little bit of a blipping issue, but it shouldn't play too much as of effect as long as there's no contact. Ken Poland will try and hold that train though from Morgan and De Gassis, but my goodness, Alexa, the action is not going to stop after this 10-minute mark.
What they've done, 2 thirds to go. This is all to play for in this fight. I heard a little giggle in my ear. Yeah, this is the giggle because this is action all the less. Mike Schweening versus Stanley versus Poulin versus the Gassis versus Morgan. All over the place. Call it live live because you're watching it live and in colour. As Nagelvoort is going to get a slow down penalty for a second there, so a little bit unfortunate for them. Although I will say this, I feel a bit sorry for Mark Schweening. He's outnumbered by all the American drivers around him. Maybe continuing on, but Sully Khan, Nagelvoort is, I'm going to guess, into the pit lane because he had a slowdown. No, he served that slowdown and he's lost out to not only Sully Khan, but he's lost out to Sean Kapinski and Todd Going. There is Sully Khan in that lemon and blue V. Honestly, it's almost like a lemon shark. I'm sure they have those somewhere in the world, Tristan. As you continue to look in the background as well, on the Hun, you got Gianni Lutsu making their way through, still holding on to this lead. Thomas Lord Fleming is not letting it up, though. He is right up the chuff of his fellow drivers' Formula V.
Yeah, there is so much action, and I just actually read it now from the name of what Thomas has chosen. I think he wants us to refer to him as Lord Flemington because he's got the nickname and he's got the surname, so I think that's what we'll have to call him for the rest of this. He's trying to show a little bit of humor here in the fighting, and I mean, my goodness, that red nose is getting so close to the end exhaust pipe, and oh, it's actually practically in the gearbox here between Gianni Lutsu and Lord Flemington as they try and make their way around it. I mean, I like our producer was saying, I mean, this guy's got so much humor and charisma around track, and he proves it in the interview box as well. So hopefully we can see him here tonight again in the interview room, but he's going to have to try and keep himself in the top 3. He doesn't even look like he's trying to get past Lutsu. He's actually trying to, I think he's playing around with Lutsu a little bit here. He can definitely take a dive somewhere, but Mr. Flemington is deciding to keep it behind for the action. Maybe he'll make a dive in the next coming moves. I mean, he could have easily dived up on the inside there, but decides to stay behind still again. We do have one of the back markers staying with them. That's the number 16 of Lachlan Robinson, who had the black flag launch at the start with the false start, and he's actually managing to stay with our top 3. So it almost does look like we have a 3-way fight here. Unfortunately, only 2 will count. De Gassis loses out. What happened to De Gassis? He's down into the pit lane, as I just saw him drop down on our live timings tower. We'll have to see what happened there. He does have the orange meatball flag. So do we possibly have a bit of an incident on our hands there from the number 21 in terms of position, but the number 18 car of Mr. Alan De Gassis currently out of this race. Let's go have a bit of a replay to see what happened, as we do see the orange flag on our live timings tower. Here's your replay of what happened to Alan De Gassis, currently fighting on strong behind Schweening. Was there a possible grass touch? Was there a possible suspension? Oh, there's a suspension tap. Was that enough? Nope. There comes a little bit of a brake test, and unfortunately getting intertwined there with Mark Schweening. He does manage to come loose And just looks like the two of them are just kind of fighting on with each other. And then I think he just decides to pull the car in. He does keep on going for a bit, but I think he eventually decides to pull it into the pit lane from damage. So very unfortunately for Alan Degassis, not the race he would have wanted yet tonight. But we are just about a minute and a half away from the halfway mark of this race, and the racing is not going to stop there.
Oh yeah, it's definitely suspension damage on that end, getting intertwined with the fellow drivers. But now this is Matthias Marin right in the middle of this fight. You've got Big Dog Babson with Sully Card, Matthias Marin, Sean Gapinski, and Todd Going in this fight. This 5-car fight that you got on your screen, watching Matthias Marin, the Canadian, in the middle of it, trying to hold on to it. You got the Americans, you got the Canadian, you've got the Brit, all vying for that top 5. It comes down to this and into this one, but then again, we've still got just over half this race to go yet, so anything can happen. Never say never in live racing spheres, as that is going to be Lord Flemington, who is into the lead of this race. Johnny Lutsu is going to have to try fight this one back now, though. Is it going to happen down towards turn number 1? The Lord has got past, but now it's not going to work out that time. Thomas Fleming leads this with Johnny Lutsu, P number 2, and Zach Rattray White. And Zach Rattray White, P number 3. I've got my producer cracking me up in my ear.
Yeah, there's just so much animosity around this track currently, and so much action happening. So Mr. Lord Flemington does decide to make the jump now on the pink Formula V, but how long will he be able to stay up in front? Gianni Lutsu immediately applying the pressure there from behind in number 58. And Lachlan Robinson is managing to hold on to the top 3 fight, and it's actually quite nice to see it. I just wish he was actually in the top 3 position, which he could have possibly been if he didn't get that jump start. So it's very unfortunate to see. At least he's still getting the thrill of racing with the top 3 as he tries to keep himself within this fight. But we'll have to give a bit of a Google just to see, if he's famous or not, or if he's going to come and knock on our doors if we say something bad. But for the time being, he's really doing well, fighting in the top 3, indirect top 3. But for the time being, Flemington will still sit in P number 1. And actually, we can go flashback down towards Borowski. He looks like he might be making a position soon on Zach Rattray White. This is further down there with Solomon Khan and Big Dog Babson leading that fight. Here's Mr. Borowski just on the backside of Rattray White. And I've been looking at that live timings board. It keeps on flashing between the 3/10 and about the 1/10 mark between Borowski and Rattray White. And I'm suspecting we might see something happening in the next couple of seconds. But my goodness, Alexa, Rattray White is struggling here today. We usually see him fighting very easily up top towards Lutsu and Mr. Flemington, but today he's just not able to pull away from Borowski.
I think it may be just a little bit of rust there. Of course, he didn't take part last week, so maybe the rust is just unfortunately there. You've always got to shake it off, a little bit of ring rust. So maybe that's just why, but it's really unfortunate. As you've got Borowski in the background there, you've got Zach Rattray White, who is just in front of them. As you've got Ken Pooling getting past Morgan further back. And these fights have definitely calmed down a bit, but you still got this train. This is the good thing about these cars. They can stick in a train if they want to. All aboard the Babson Express, because this is realistically no big surprise there as they continue down this main straight. It is all over the place. These guys are going absolutely at it for a while. Yeah, now what was 5 cars is up to 6.
Yep, 6-car train is what we love to see. I just wish this was towards the top 1 position train like we've seen in the previous rounds. But it is still for a mid-pack fight. And it's for the final spot of the top 5, which Babson is currently holding. But he's not going to have an easy job with about 13 minutes left to go. Because he's got Khan, he's got Marin, he's got Kapinski, Nagelworth, and Going. All of them in this huge train trying to fight each other towards that top 5 position. There is a little bit of a break now between Nagelworth and Gapinski. Quite a little bit of a differentiation there. Sorry, I believe that's actually Nagelworth and Khan now, as Nagelworth just gets in front of Gapinski. And so Khan will have a little bit of breathing room from behind, but trying to chase down on Matthias Marin. I didn't actually realize Matthias has got so much blue on the backside of his Formula V. I just thought it was more of a purple pinky style, but quite nice to see the gradient blend on that Formula V and the creativity coming out in that car. You can see it's white on the tip. It's around a pinkish purple in the middle, and on the backside is a vibrant blue. So very nice flow of the car that we're seeing over there. But for the time being, it is banana versus rainbow colors as Solomon Khan versus Matthias Marin. Who can make it through the next couple of corners, and you can see how tight it is between the fights over here. Babson holding off strong between the two league runners of Marin and Khan. But what can they do in the next couple of corners? Because as you can see, Marin is slowly starting to creep close onto that outside border of Babson, and Solomon Khan, the more incidents and the mistakes he sees up ahead, the closer he can try and fight. As you can see, Marin taking a slightly more inner line, and will that potentially give him a bit of a benefit? He is now completely too wide going into the next right-hander. Babson does have the inside. Oh, almost contact as Babson reaches out a little bit too wide and almost deletes the gap that he had. And now it's actually reversed around because it's Khan versus Marin now coming towards that last right-hander. Khan decides to pull in, and now they've both got the slip on Babson. Could we potentially see a double position moving up into the first turnover here? If Khan follows the right line, we could be seeing something potentially. Will the likes of Marin try and take the jump? Babson goes defensive though onto the inside line, and it means that Marin will have to pull off onto the outside. Can he try and keep the rotation? Unfortunately not, and Khan will slot in. There's wheel-to-wheel contact though, as Khan makes a tap with the likes of Marin's rear end and gets pushed by over 2 positions lost due to 1 small contact. And that is very unfortunate for Solomon Khan. He'll have to try and fight back up towards Marin. Let's just hope we don't see too much more of that contact. We've only got about 10 minutes left of racing here.
Yeah, book of those belts tied, 10 left to go. 1/3 of the distance, it is ready and raring. One more time for all the good times. You've got Matthias Marin who's trying to defend it here. Nagelvolt in the background as there is Johnny Lutsu still trying to fight back for that lead. You've got Nagelvolt who's going to get past Marin further back, but Johnny Lutsu still on the rear end. Got to be right in that toe of looking and lurking behind Lord Flemington. Down in towards the braking zone for turn number 1. A little bit of puff out the engine, but now nice and clean between them. No, only a nose and a gearbox. No aerodynamics, no wings. This is proper racing with pure machinery and driver skill. There is Sully Khan, who's now coming back under the back of this fight. He's actually going to go down the inside. Sully Khan going to get past... Got to get past Marin. Todd Goen getting past Marin there as well, actually. So Marin's going to be on the outside. Sully Khan on the inside line. Got to go on the inside one more time. He's going to get that move done, and he's going to be able to hold that position. Now he's going to be on the back, and Sully Khan goes round. And that is... there is no such thing as curses. But Sully Khan, from all this season, it's happened again. He cannot seem to stay away from those little incidents.
Yeah, we were literally talking about at the beginning of this race that he's got the pace to fight on towards the top fight, but yet again, unfortunately, receiving contact. Was it his fault? We're looking on the inside. There's Marin. On the outside looks to be, I believe, Gapinski. And coming into the left-hander, what happens? Takes it on, and unfortunately, it's completely self-inflicted yet again. Just too much speed being carried into that corner, and not enough that the Formula V can handle. Too much weight being transferred onto the front left, and just not enough to keep it stabilized. And unfortunately, Khan will move down to 17th position and lose out on that top 5 train that he was neatly sitting inside of. But 8 minutes left of racing. Lutsu has not been able to get up in front of Lord Flemington. He's holding the throne like it's season 8 finale and trying to hold it as strong as he possibly can. Coming into the next right-hander, though, you can see Lutsu creeping up slowly but surely, 2.5 tenths up towards the gearbox, trying to find a way around Lord Flemington, but it might not be enough. With only 8 minutes left to go, both with real-life defensive and offensive skill under their belts. What can Flemington do to keep him behind, and what can Lutsu do to try and get ahead? You can see not trying to make a risky dive up onto the inside of a long right-hander. Instead, just gets a bit of a bump trough to try and stay behind as much as he can. Will it be enough, though, to make a position up into the next corner? Will Lutsu go for the dive? It looks like Flemington holding off on the outside line. Not enough, though, and Lutsu will sit neatly in the slipstream of Flemington, not making that position count just as of yet. Matthias Marin has also, I think, had a bit of an incident. I did see his name drop off a little bit there, and you can see fighting behind. I believe that's Todd Going just up in front. Gapinski behind, takes a little bit of a grass, takes more grass, and again, weight distribution change in the Formula V, taking that jump and forcing all the weight back down towards the asphalt. Not enough for the Formula V to handle, and around it goes on its donut plane. And unfortunately for Matthias Marin, that's down with his fellow driver of Khan and loses out down to 12th position. I mean, so much action happening here with about 7 minutes left of racing. Anything can happen with the other drivers, so keep your eyes peeled all over the grid because you might be seeing changes wherever.
That was a nice camera shot, I will say so myself. But now around the outside, here comes Big Dog Babson on Nagelvoort. But now, once again, it is really a fight up against each other. You've got the cream and the bread. It looks like a bit like a strawberry. You've got the strawberry cars and you've also got the orange car in the background. I'm hungry, okay? As we continue into the right-hander, as you go onto the main straight one more time, Mark Sweeney going to get past Neil Hanley a little bit further back. We're nearly at 5 minutes remaining, and you've also got the other orange. Looks like a Terry's. As you got Todd going in the background there as well. Nagelvoort and Babson also in this fight. Sean Gopinski's going to try and come up to it as quickly as possible. But how long will that last? As Babson, Nagelvoort, wheel to wheel for a moment, side by side. Babson does stay ahead. Also going to have Borowski, who's going to be closing on Zach Rockford right up ahead. Going to have a little bit of a tiger pattern on the inside line. Todd going is going to get past Nagelvoort, and that's going to be a nice move. Dirt getting kicked up by Big Dog Babson as you continue throughout this race. But nearly 25 minutes in, 30 minutes remaining. We have got several more laps to go around here. It's never over until it's over, some may say. It's brought to you by Sambo iRacing, powered by Lutsu Driver Performance. They've teamed up to bring you even better content, and of course you'll be able to find them at their usual places for their own regards. You've got Marius Marinus just been overtaken by Ken Poulin and Morgan. Marion gets a slow down penalty as well, so he is not having a good final end to this race. As we go again, this is a replay, as I believe it's going to be Marion. Is it going to be? It's a similar spot from a few laps before, but I feel like it's going to be exactly the same. Drops the gear, round it goes. That is a Formula V in a nutshell.
Formula V in a nutshell indeed. Lots of over rotation being shown there by Matthias Marin, and it looks like he just went a little bit too wide, tried to flick the car in and reduce speed, and all of that together is like it's like overwhelming the child of a Formula V, and it just chucks itself into a tantrum, unfortunately. So you have to be very careful. But I was going to say, this fight with Todd going down to the likes of Gopinski, it looks like some corporate company event, because you've got orange versus red and white. But talking about that, we do have a bit of a lead change, and I'm not too sure when it happened, and I'm not too sure if they're toying with each other, because it keeps on happening between these two. But Lutsu has gotten the jump on Lord Flemington. Was it a slightly given style position, or was it actually an error from Lord Flemington, and just gave the gap there to Gianni Lutsu to take lead for this race with about 4 or so minutes left? This is going to be crucial now. If Lord Flemington wants to take the win in his number 6, he's going to have to try everything he can to get past, because now Lutsu, it's going to be the vice versa switch. Lutsu will now use his defensive skills. We can look at a bit of an incident that we just heard a call out for. Mark Sweeney also had a bit of a spin around, or a possible incident. This is, I believe, racing against what looks like Rodrigo Tostas, or possibly one of the other drivers. So a little bit more speed being carried there by Sweeney, and just into the backside of his fellow driver. That might have actually been Rich Matthews. Actually took his front nose plate completely clean off. I'm not too sure who that was, either Tostas or Rich Matthews. I'm not entirely sure. I can't remember the livery off by my head. But for the time being, unfortunate there for Sweeney. Matthews is Matthews is in a black and red livery, so I'm not too sure. That might have been Neil Handley, maybe. I know the green liveries. Tostes has got a much more of a covered Formula V in terms of green. That looked like a partial black and green car, so not too sure who that was, but really unfortunate contact being shown by them. But with 3 minutes left of racing, what's just happened there? Lots of change down from 9th position. Kirk Stanley will get a jump on Zenkar and Rodrigo Tostas, and as well as Khan getting past Schweening. So loads and loads of action here. With about 2.5 or so minutes left, the action is really going to start to become more prominent. So keep your eyes peeled. If you started to doze off in the middle of this race, now is the time to wake up, take a sip of your coffee, and watch the action unfold.
On my seat, the fans in the grandstand are out of their seats. Here's Mark Schweding on Sully Khan down the main straight. Is it going to be wheel to wheel, side by side? It will be for a moment. Mark Schweding is going to be able to get ahead, but Sully Khan's going to have that inside line. 3 positions up since the start is Mark Schweding. Sully Khan is defending this after his incident earlier on. He doesn't want to lose anymore. He wants to be in that top 15, and he is doing it in style at the moment. He's holding this pretty nice, I should say. But now up in the fight at the top, it's incredibly close between them. Down into half a second. That's onto the inside for Mr. Lord Fleming, and it's going to be into the lead once again for Thomas. And it is once again Thomas Lord Flemington who is into the lead of this Grand V race. here at this circuit. Now making their way around the outside is Gianni Lutsu. It's all to play for. There's going to be one more lap after this one. Never say never in Formula V's. And it's now onto the rear end. Throwing up that dirt on either side is Lord Flemington, trying to get it in the visor, trying to obscure the vision of Gianni Lutsu, as that is a little bit of puff of smoke in the air, as you've got Matthews into the pit lane as well, actually. Hanley 1 lap down, Robinson 3 laps down, Cummings 9 laps down. They've not come back out, but Lord Flemington moves to the right-hand side. Now going to be able to defend this one. We're nearly at just 1 minute remaining. Going to be going round the outside on this time round. It's incredibly close between the two. We will see the white flag on the left-hand side of the gantry. It is the final lap of the race around here tonight. It's round number 9 of the season. You're watching live on Apex Racing TV. Like and subscribe, hit that bell for notifications. It's the TGR Nation Grand V. And now looking for the left, looking for the right. Gianni Lutsu wants that position back. He goes to the inside line, but he has to go around the outside after. This is the manner with this circuit. It doesn't allow any chances. Now, Lord Flemington is going to defend it. Are we going to see a drag race towards the end? You never know until it's over. It's nearing, it's closer. 20 seconds on the clock. Onto the inside line for Gianni Lutsu, but not close enough. Wants to have a look at that gearbox in the back, but nothing there yet. As they continue down here, it's into the toe. Gianni Lutsu, Thomas Lord Flemington. It's wheel to wheel, side by side. We're going to get a drag race here. Helicopter's going to be needed. Through the right-hander, I guess, as we go one more. It's Thomas Fleming. Checkered flag is out. It's to the line here tonight. Thomas Lord Flemington wins here tonight ahead of Gianni Lutsu as they have a little clash at the end. Zach Rattray right rounds out the podium with Adrian Borowski. Then P number 4, this is the fight further back. Sean Gopinski and Big Dog Babson, as well as Todd going on the inside line. This is incredibly close. You want a drag race, you're going to get another one here, Tristan, as that's wide and onto the grass.
Yeah, very unfortunate there for Gopinski, just missing out from going wide. There's another one, though. There's Rodrigo Tosses. He's actually changed up his livery, which is why we couldn't find him out on track. He's got a nice blue and white going on now, but further behind Morgan and fighting on strong with a couple of other drivers. But my goodness, what a great race we saw down to the line. It's the usual top 3 that we normally see, except for the fact that, oh, Khan loses out. Is that going to be into the pit barrier? He just manages to save a little bit of left side G-force whiplash, and thankfully saves the car from going into the wall, but losing it again. So Khan, unfortunately, struggling quite a bit here in terms of track consistency here at Tsukuba, and you'll have to try and make it up in the next round, round number 10. But for the regards of Tsukuba, that is race over. Like I was saying, it's the normal top 3, but not usually seeing Zach White 6 seconds off the pace. So very unfortunate for him to be so far off. But unfortunately, that is sometimes how the events of this racing goes. But that is it in terms of this race. I think we've got a couple of drivers who are ready for interviews, but there is our race results. Thomas Lord Flemington will take P1 with Gianni Lutsu in 2nd. Zach White will take 3rd. Borowski in 4th. Nagelbert in 5th with Babson 6th. Going in 7th with Sean Gopinski in 8th. Kirk Stanley in 9th. Zen Carl will take 10th with Rodrigo Tostas taking 11th. Ken Poland will take 12th. Adam Morgan in 13th with Matthias Marin in 14th position. Mark Schweening in 15th with Sully Khan in 16th position. Martin Visser in 17th with Alan de Gassis from the Wilbur Bunser Racing team in 18th position. And then the final couple positions of the drivers who didn't have the best races. Neil Hanley down in 19th with Rich Matthews in 20th position. Lachlan D. Robinson in 21st. And Hayden Cummings will round off this 22-car grid at Tsukuba in the final slot, 16 laps down. So very unfortunate for them, but we're getting some recommendations from our producer. I'm gonna let our lead take the control of that one. He can do what he wants.
Zach Rattray White, you are live on Apex Racing TV. P number 3 tonight, and it's a very interesting one. We didn't see you last week, but coming into this one, what was the game plan? How do you feel about your result tonight?
Look, I'm a little disappointed in myself and my performance. P3 is probably about what I deserve after that mediocre qualifying effort. Yeah, kind of just, even though it's such a small bit of a go-kart track almost, the draft is still crazy strong, so we kind of lost it a bit early and it kind of screwed us for the rest of the race. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. is what it is. It was a good race.
Yeah, I mean, it's benefiting to Johnny Lutsu. Going into these final rounds of the season, only a few more left to go. How are you feeling about that third crown? What's the game plan for the rest of the season here? Because it's looking very interesting with Lutsu in form.
Yeah, look, if I'm honest, I don't think the third crown's happening this season. I think that might be going the way of Johnny if he turns up and just does his thing. I think we might need some third-party action to maybe make the swing back in my favour. But I mean we'll do our best to see what we can come up with. But I think at this rate, I think it might be Johnny that might be coming out on top.
Well, fair enough. Before we let you go, is there anybody you would like to thank?
Nah, not really. You guys for doing the broadcast as always, and the admins and whatnot. And yeah, thanks to Johnny and Thomas for leaving me in the dust today. That was fun to watch. Just yeah, kicking me wild.
Oh, fair enough. We will see you next time round, Mr. Zach Rattray White. It's not over yet. You still got a championship to fight for.
That's it. Still all to play for. We'll see what we can do. See you then.
That was Zach Rattray White. I am going to, because it could be very interesting, this one. Tristan, you weren't here last week, so I shall let you take this interview with this man.
Yeah, Thomas Fleming, welcome into the commentary box. Firstly, I'd like to say, Lord Flemington, thank you for Your Highness for taking time off, and he's just left the commentary box. Not too sure if there was a possible network error there. Just for the sake of our streamer, I'm going to bring Gianni Lutsu up. Unfortunately, we've lost the person we're interviewing, but Gianni Lutsu, welcome into the commentary box. Welcome in, like I mentioned, but how did that race go, fighting on strong there with Lord Flemington up at the top?
Yeah, no, look, it was a nice race, to be honest. It was pretty relaxing today. It wasn't half an hour of pure fighting every single lap, which was kind of relaxing, to be honest with you, but made the race maybe go a little bit slower. But yeah, no, Lord Flemington, as you mentioned, always a good little race. Unfortunately, we couldn't kind of come out on top, but I think it just becomes really difficult. We are so close. I think, between me, Tom, and Zach, we are so close in terms of pace that, whenever we do make a pass or whenever we try to make a pass, it's very difficult because I think, in terms of this track, I think Zach mentioned it is a bit of a go-kart track. There's only some certain spots where you can potentially get a run, but if you do have the lead, you can kind of defend pretty well and kind of own the track where you kind of want to. So, yeah, look, I mean, good points. I need to start watching out for Thomas because I think we only got like 1 point in between us in the championship, so it's getting pretty close. So I need to try and get a couple on him in the back end of the season now. But look, can't complain. Second place is always good. So yeah, always nice battling up the front there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, how are you feeling now? Obviously, we're getting towards the end of the season, and next week we head to round 10 at Wild West Motorsport Park. How are you feeling? Have you had some experience around that track in the V?
Honestly, no. I don't know what to expect. I don't know if the car's going to make it over the jumps. I don't know if it's going to get bogged. I don't even know if anyone's tried it before. It's something new for me. I have driven that track before, so I know which way I'm going, which does help. But I think if anything is to take from dirt, I think we obviously did the oval at USA International in Speedway, I think it was last season, so I kind of have an idea of what's going on, but of course there's a bit of a different spec to that. But yeah, look, I think it's very much just a case of take it week by week. I think we did a good qualifying again today, put it on pole, just get a good start, try and break away from the field, and yeah, usually it's a battle between myself, Zach, or Tom. So yeah, no, look, take the positives from it. Obviously, yeah, not the result maybe we wanted. I mean, always wanting to win, but yeah, when it's in between the 10th, it's just hard to even judge who's going to come out on top. So yeah, did well today, but yeah, we'll move on to next week and see how we're going to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And before you head out of the commentary box, is there anything you'd like to mention? Anybody you'd like to shout out?
Yeah, of course. Thank you to you guys. Always a pleasure being able to go back and watch all the footage from the race. It's always good to get a bit of excitement out of everything we do by watching it back. So thank you for that. Of course, massive thank you to Matthias and Sully, of course, for always holding this every single week. Without them, this wouldn't be happening. So big thank you to them. My driver coaching brand, Let's Do Drive Performance. If anyone wants to try and figure out how to go fast around Tsukuba, anywhere on the iRacing calendar or in any car other than the V, please feel free to reach out, www.letsdriveperformance.com, or search my name up anywhere on socials. You'll probably find me pretty easily. So big night tonight. It was quite fun. Enjoyed it. Good results. So let's see how we go next week.
Incredible stuff. Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight in the commentary box, and we'll see you next week at Wild West.
Thanks, guys. Cheers.
Well, Alexa, you now get to have the privileges of talking to the man himself.
Thomas Lord Flemington, you are live on Apex Racing TV. You are live on Apex Racing TV, Mr. Thomas Fleming. Talk us through that race tonight, because it definitely looked like an interesting one. And do we have a Thomas Fleming?
Not sure. I think he might have had a bit of a connection issue. I did see him jumping in and out a bit earlier, so not too sure if he's stable yet. Thomas, you there? Not sure. Mr. Thomas is going to be joining us in the commentary box.
Yeah, I believe that is not. We are unfortunately then out of time. So, let's round this out then, because I do not hear a Thomas Fleming. And Tristan, what are your thoughts on this race tonight?
Yeah, I mean, incredible race nonetheless. Again, it always does show it this way in terms of the TGR Nation Grand V. We always have fights, whether it's for the top 1 or for the top 5 or the top 10. Tonight was for the top 5. We had a long train there, a battle of 6 different cars. So it was great to see yet again at Tsukuba, and it definitely did prove its challenges here, especially during our tight corners and the chicanes. But the drivers did manage to conquer and claim their victories here from Mr. Tom Steve Fleming and Gianni Lutsu, as well as Trey White on that final podium spot. So incredible stuff here for tonight, and can't wait to see what kind of action we'll be seeing next week at Wild West Motorsport.
Indeed it is, and you said it, Wild West Motorsport comes your way next week round. Same place, same time. It is going to be an interesting one as this championship heats up towards the end of the season. But ladies and gentlemen, from myself, Alex Marshall, and Tristan Herbst, our producer in the background, Jim Cunningham, this has been the Apex Racing TV broadcast for the TGR Nation Grand V Series. We'll see you next week. Good night.